I didn't give you any multiple choice option, but in the final exam, you'll see the multiple choice options. A, B, C, D, E, okay? You will see them. Now, since I didn't give you the option, so I graded your exam harshly, because when you see multiple choice, you're definitely going to make the same mistake. For example, Johnny, which question you're talking about? Oh, different questions. I didn't give the points on different quotient, many of you, okay? I took up points only for a tiny plus minus mistake. And you may wonder, like, why am I being so strict? Well, that's because in your multiple choice option, you'll see so many choices. Among those, you'll see correct one and the wrong ones. So your minus mistake, you're going to see that option in your multiple choice, and you're going to pick that option in your final exam, definitely. Because you see you have a minus or plus in the thingy difference quotient, and you see the exact same option is available. So without even realizing anything, you're going to circle the wrong one. So I didn't give you points for your tiny mistake, because in the final exam, I want you to, just because you see some results on the choices, it doesn't mean they're correct. You have to check your work correctly, properly. I noticed many of you were done early in 1 hour, and then you left, and you didn't get 100 points. Why not? Because you thought you did everything correctly, but you did not. You made tiny mistakes, little mistakes, plus minus mistakes, domain, the parentheses or bracket mistake. All those mistakes you're going to see again in your multiple choice in the final exam. So I am being strict here so that you don't get the habit of making mistakes. If I punish you heavily the first time, that will stuck in your brain, and you'll always remember me negatively. Oh man, she took a point, she didn't give me any points because of this tiny mistake. And then in your entire life, you're going to remember that. Okay? And then you're not going to make the same mistake again. I hope. Okay? So if you have a complaint about tiny points like negative sign or bracket, parentheses, or not full correct work, I didn't give you any points, that's because I did it intentionally. Don't make the same mistake again. When you take the exam, take it and then check everything thoroughly. Okay? Everything. And you'll find your mistake. Similar to this exam, you're going to have some partial credit, mostly non-partial credit. But here I actually give 50-50. In the final exam, it will be 24 questions, no partial credit, and only 6 questions you get partial credit. See, 24 and 6, a huge difference. And you get partial credit only if you make a tiny mistake, like negative sign. It's supposed to be negative, but if it's positive, you get partial credit. Huh? Oops. I said in the final exam, not in the in-class exam. In the in-class exam, when I said no partial credit, I mean no partial credit. Okay? So yeah, I admit that I graded your exam harshly. I admit that. But good news is that in the next exam, I'm going to give you more points, more extra credit. So as long as you do well in the next exam, you'll be fine. You have to take 4 in-class exam and the final exam. So I think you'll be fine. Plus, you have your homework, your quizzes. In the quizzes, I'm also planning to give you some extra credit. So you do have extra credit opportunities. And also one more thing, the maximum you can get in an exam is 100. So with everything, extra credit and everything, the maximum is 100. Okay. For example, you can get 106, but I'll count only 100. Same thing in the final exam. The total point is 105, but we are allowed to take only 100 points. Come on. I hate that. Okay, I lost my page. Come. And I really don't want to teach today, but let's start. What's wrong with this? Come on. Yeah. So in the last couple of days, last 5 days, yeah, I was so busy grading that I didn't check anything else. I didn't check my math 12. So I believe you had your homework and quizzes due last Tuesday, right? Tuesday, right? Your homework for one up to 1.4. So we are on 1.5 and we are not done. So most likely, probably we'll be able to finish 1.5 tomorrow. Yeah, I think. So you'll have your 1.5 homework next week, Tuesday. Okay. So 1.5 is a long section. Please start doing them even though you don't see their deadline, but still start doing your 1.5 homework. I'll put the due date next week, Tuesday. And if it is a quiz, then I'll also put the deadline of the quiz next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday, we have a class. Thursday, there is no class. And we have Friday class again. Okay? Huh? Question? Today we have class. Tomorrow we have class. Next week, Tuesday, we have class. But next week, Wednesday and Thursday, there is no class. And then next week, Friday, we have class again. No math class or no class? The entire school. Any other question before we start? So before we went to take the exam, the last thing we did was vertex, axis of symmetry, xy intercept, and graphing parabola. Who remembers how to find the vertex? Y equals what? X equals negative b over 2. So for vertex, it's a point. So it has an x value and a y value. Unfortunately, we don't see the vertex here because this is in standard form or general form. I forget every time. It's not in vertex form. So to see the x value of the vertex, you have to use the formula negative b over 2a. And if you try to reduce this before you finding vertex, it's wrong. The vertex, it depends on the original function, this function. So in this function, what is your b? What is your b? 12 divided by 2 times a. What is our a? 2. So we have negative 12 divided by 4, which is negative 3. So we found our x value, negative 3. Unfortunately, there is no formula for y. So do you remember how to find y? We plug in that x into the function and we get the y. Y equals 2x squared plus 12x minus 14. Instead of x, we put negative 3. And now PEMDAS says to do what? 2 times negative 3 or negative 3 squared? So what is negative 3 squared? 9. Here we have a multiplication. Positive 12 times negative 3. Negative 36 minus 14. So we do 2 times 9, 18 minus 36 minus 14. 18 minus 36 is negative 18. negative 18, negative 14. 8 plus 4 is 12, so we get 1 on the top. We have 1, 1, 2 plus 1, 3. So negative 32. Did you do the math right? 6 and 4 is 10, 3, 1, 4, 5. So 50 minus 18. Yep, 32. So we found the vertex. That means you also have axis of symmetry. Who remembers how to find axis of symmetry? X value of the vertex. So x equals negative 3. Axis of symmetry is a vertical line, and every vertical line has a formula x equals. So it's x equals the x value of the vertex. My tree looks so weird. It's 3. So done with axis of symmetry, now x-intercept. But before finding x-intercept, let's do y-intercept. It's easier. To find y-intercept, what do we do? x0. Set x0. So we have y equals 0 plus 0 minus 14, which is simply negative 14. So every x you see turn into 0. And if you want to write as a point format, do you remember how to write y-intercept as a point? Point. So you mean you need an x and a y. So in the y-intercept, how much is the x? 0. And your y is negative 14. So this is the point format. In the final exam, usually they ask for point format. So we found y-intercept. Now let's find x-intercept. To find x, what do we do? y0. So 0 equals 2x squared plus 12x minus 14. And now our goal is to solve for x. So we have many methods. What do you observe here? They all are even. So we can divide all of them by what number? 2. That will make your life easy. So 0 equals x squared plus 6x minus 7. And now which method comes in your mind? Factor. Good job. So our goal is to look for two numbers multiplied to negative 7 combined to positive 6. 7 and 1. But the bigger factor gets the middle sign. So middle sign is positive. 7 has to be positive. Always bigger number gets the middle sign. And if 7 is positive and we want to get 6, what sign 1 has to have? Plus sign or minus sign? Minus. 7 minus 1 is 6. So that tells us we have x plus 7, 0 or x minus 1, 0. We subtract 7, you add 1, so x equals negative 7, and x equals positive 1. If they ask you to write as a point format, how are you going to write negative 7 as a point? Your x value is negative 7, but what's the y value here? 0. And same thing here. These are the points, and the top one is a non-point. So down with x-intercept. Now graphing is easy. You have y-intercept negative 14. Let's say this is negative 14. X-intercept is 1 and negative 7. Let's say this is negative 7 and this is 1. And now we have our vertex. When x is negative 3, y is negative 32. So 1, 2, 3. Let's say this is negative 3. And let's say this is negative 32. I'm just guessing everything, okay? That means I have to lower my y. So this is negative 14. This is a parabola. So x-intercept, y-intercept, and vertex. So vertex is negative 3, negative 32. That's your x-axis, that's your y-axis. And axis of symmetry. In your homework, you have to draw the axis of symmetry. So this is axis of symmetry, x equals negative 3. Any question? Do you remember doing that before the exam? Little bit. Now there is another type. It's not in Jannah or standard, whatever. It looks kind of weird, doesn't it? What can you do so that it looks kind of familiar? Go ahead, Dimitri, what is your idea? You don't need to distribute. If you add 5, then we are going to have only y alone. So all these examples of function or equation, we have y alone on one side. But here, y is not alone on one side. So it looks weird. So get the y alone. We have y equals x plus 2 squared plus 5. And now it looks familiar. It looks just like the vertex format. Y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. This is called vertex form. That means we don't have to find the vertex here. It's given in front of our eyes. We just have to identify that. So who can identify the vertex? What's the x value here? Good job. Negative 2 and 5. See here, negative h is 2. That means your h has to be negative 2. And your k is 5. So you don't have to change any sign. Vertex in a vertex form is hk. That's why it's called vertex form, because we see the vertex given to us. So at least we have some time that we saved. Unfortunately, the time we saved, we're going to use that to find the y-intercept. But before that, we have axis of symmetry. What's the formula for axis of symmetry? Axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. So x equals whatever you have for the x. Negative b over 2a is the x value of the vertex when you don't see the vertex. Here we see the vertex. So you're not going to use negative b over 2a. Now let's find y-intercept. Unfortunately, before we just had to cancel the axis and the constant was the y-intercept. Now it's not. We still set x to be 0, but this time we literally have to solve for y. So we have y equals 0 plus 2 square plus 5 here. When x is 0, we have 0 plus 2 inside. And now simplify. Which part we do first? M does it do what first? What is P? So what do we have inside the parentheses? 0 plus 2. What is 0 plus 2? So we do 2 square plus 5. And now Pam, E. What is E? So what is 2 square? So we have 4 plus 5. And what is 4 plus 5? 9. You see, we had to simplify to get the y-intercept. Previously, we didn't. So this is one downside of the vertex form. We see the vertex, but we don't see the y-intercept now. So we go ahead and find the x-intercept. Same rule, set y to be 0. So when our y is 0, we have 0 equals x plus 2 square plus 5. Since you're solving for y, that means, so you're solving for x, that means we want that x to be alone. Now x has 2 square and 5 next to that. Which one you get rid of first to get the x alone? The 2 inside, the 2 on the exponent, or the 5 outside? 5 outside. Perfect. You start from whatever is far from x. So we have -5. Well, let me put the left side here. X plus 2 square equals -5. 0 minus 5 is -5, so we have that. And then what do we do? Which one we get rid of now? The 2 inside or the 2 exponent? So what's the opposite of square power? Square root. Oh, what do you observe here? It's not real. Square root of -5 is not real. Not real. So do you have any x-intercept? No x-intercept. X-intercept has to be real number. If you cannot solve it, that means it doesn't have any x-intercept. So what type of graph we have that doesn't have any x-intercept? It sounds weird, right? X, Y, we have our vertex -2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So x equals -2 is the axis of symmetry. This is our vertex. We have y-intercept 9. So let me extend this. 6, 7, 8, 9. There is no x-intercept. We have only one y-intercept, and we have only one vertex. What type of parabola you have to draw? Upward or upside down? Upward. That's why we don't have any x-intercept, because we're not crossing the x-axis. And we have to draw an upward because here the A is positive. Anytime you have a positive coefficient, it's upward. If you have a negative coefficient, it's upside down, downward parabola. Any question? So this is from your homework. You're going to see that again in your homework. Daily. Next week, Tuesday. because I think tomorrow we can finish this. I hope so. And then we have a fun concept, transformation. In this class, we are going to learn only 3 types of transformation. One you already know, reflection. So reflection is when you have a negative sign in front of the parentheses. For example, x squared is a parabola upward. Come on. So normal x squared is an upward parabola. If you have a negative in the front, you have upside down parabola. It's called reflection. And it's reflected about x-axis. And you already know this, right? Because we did few, you did a reflection, you did a graphing question in that exam. Oh no, you didn't. My algebra class did. Sorry, my bad. So if you have a negative sign in the front, it's a reflection about the x-axis. And then we have 2 other types. One is vertical, means either you're going straight up or straight down. And you have a horizontal, means you're either going left side or you're going to the right side. The up-down one is the number we have after you see your square. For example, here, you have x squared and then a plus 2. We see you're moving your x squared graph 2 units up. And if you have a minus, you have to go down. So if you see an x squared and then a minus sign, it means you're moving your x squared graph downward. So vertical means you're going up for plus number and you're going down for minus number. This is the vertical movement. And the vertical happens after you see your square. On the other hand, if you have a number inside your square, like this one, then inside a square, that means you have to go either left or right. That's what you call horizontal movement, left or right. And this is the bad one because this doesn't follow the direction. On our left side, we have all the negative numbers, right? So if you have a minus number, it's supposed to go on the left, but it doesn't. If you have a minus, you have to go on the positive direction. And if you have a plus sign, you have to go on the negative direction. So if you have a plus sign inside, you have to go left. If you have a minus sign inside, you have to go to the right. So this is bad. Let me write bad. It doesn't follow direction. Any question? Okay, let's do some example. We have x squared plus 2. So we have x squared at the origin here. So you're moving your square. When you move your square, you go correct direction. So you're moving upward 2 units. So this is x squared plus 2. You take your parabola from the origin and then you shift upward. Here on the right side, you're taking your parabola from the origin. So this is a normal x squared without any transformation. And you're taking this x squared and you're moving 2 units down. So 1 down, 2 down. So if you see a square and then a number, that number tells it or down by following the sign. Plus means up, minus means down. But inside are bad, right? Bad. If you have anything inside, it's bad. And if you have anything bad, it doesn't follow your direction. So this is bad because this is inside your square. It's inside the square. So it's bad. the spoiled child, okay? If you're inside, you get spoiled. So we have here at the origin of x squared, and you get spoiled. You are told to go 2 units to the right, but which way you go? 2 units to the left. Plus means you're going left, and you're drawing a parabola. X plus 2 x squared. You're supposed to go on the right, but you don't, because you are bad. You're inside the house. So we have x, y. At the origin, we have our x squared. And now you have minus 2 inside the square. So which direction? To the right. 1 right, 2 right. Here, you stop and you do a parabola. So x minus 2 x squared. So negative sign in the front means upside down. Plus sign after you square means up. After you square, the minus sign means down. But if you have a sign, if you have a plus sign inside your square, then it's left-right movement. Plus supposed to go right, but it doesn't, it go left. Minus number supposed to go on the left, but it doesn't, it goes on the right. So the bad one is the inside, the other two are correct. They're good boys, good child. Any question? Okay. Then we have all 3 transformation. We have a minus in the front, we have a number inside, and we have a number outside. But there is something weird here, right? Doesn't it look kind of weird? It doesn't? Really? The normal format all these times we saw was this. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. This is the normal one. But what do you have now in your equation? Negative instead of a, so your a is -1. What else you see? See, x and h, they switch their position. So it's kind of weird, right? We're supposed to have x on the left and then our h on the right, but it has h on the left and then x on the right. So let's switch them. We have y equals negative x. So we have negative x, you write negative x. And then what sign 4 has? Positive. Square plus 2. Again, it looks weird, right? Because our x is supposed to be positive in the format, but our x is negative here. So can you think of anything that makes x positive? It cannot do squaring. It cannot multiply by -1 because then this y will become negative, but it cannot be -y. So instead of multiplying by -1, what else you can do? You cannot also divide because that makes the y negative. You cannot use the square because our goal is to keep the square and its transformation. So if you want to use transformation, you have to see square. What is left? There's something left. Start with F. Answer with R. Factor. You cannot multiply, cannot divide, but you can factor out your -1. Factoring is possible, is permissible, but multiplying and dividing by negative is not permissible. So we can factor out -1 from here or negative sign from here. And then what do you get? The negative x becomes positive x, but the positive 4 now becomes what? -4. And now the entire thing has a square because we took the -1 out from the inside of the square. But it looks so weird, right? So what we do, we distribute the negative. In both cases, we do -1 with the square and x minus 4 with the square. So what is -1 square? Positive. We have x minus 4 square. So this inside, only the inside, 4 minus -x is actually x minus -4. So inside, we can switch their position because we have a square outside, that doesn't affect us. Okay? So basically, it's telling you, it doesn't matter what you do inside, because of the square, your result will always be positive. That's the main idea. But remember, this is only the inside. Only the inside. So let me keep writing everything else. We have a y outside, which is this y. We have a y outside, and we have our negative sign here. So we have a negative sign here. This thing here you see is the entire thing you see here. And then we have our +2. It looks super weird. Plus, minus together. So at the end, we just multiply them and we get something nice looking. Negative x minus 4 squared plus 2. And now we are happy. This looks exactly same as our format. X and then a number and then a number outside. So here I showed you all the details, but since you now you know what to do, so later if you see anything, any position is switched inside the square, you can simply switch them back. You don't have to do all this work. Just switch them back. Okay? Okay, so what does negative means? What type of transformation? Negative in the front means downward. You have a -4 inside a square. Huh? Which direction? Left, right, up, down? Which one? Right, perfect. And you have +2 after your square. Which direction? Up 2. So you take your normal x square from the origin. This is a normal x square without transformation. You take this, you make it upside down, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4 right. And from that 4 right, you go from that position, you go 1 up, 2 up here. Let me miss my x square from here to there. So this origin now comes here and you draw downward. Sorry, my bad. You draw a downward parabola. So this is negative x minus 4 squared plus 2. Yeah, we did so much. Any question? Guess what? In the exam, I'm going to give you this. One of these. Confused about what? Tell me a step. Which step? I cannot tell you everything, right? So he told me all the answers correctly. He told me all the answers correctly. Then how come you didn't get it? Okay, try the next one by yourself. See if you can do it. Next one doesn't look weird. It looks normal. So question number 1, what is the shape of any square graph? What's the shape of a square graph? So this is square, right? So what's the shape of the square graph? Yeah. So if you know your parabola, now I'm telling you, take this parabola and shift it somewhere else based on the direction. So I give you 3 directions to follow. Before you go to -2, to start from this, what does this minus mean? -1. So if you have a negative sign in front of your x squared, what is the shape of your graph? Upside down. So this direction is telling you reflect your graph. And then you have a -2 inside. So which direction you're going to go? Good. Then how come you don't understand? I don't understand what you don't understand. You know, that's weird. And then you have +3 after you square. The +3 is telling you to go which direction? So you're going to go up. The exponent is telling you the shape. The shape is square. Exponent tells you what the shape is, and the other 3 things tell you which direction to go. It is easy. So you have your x, your y. The normal graph is at the origin. Now you take this normal graph without any transformation, you flip it, and then you go 1, 2 right, and 1, 2, 3 up from that right, and then you draw your new parabola. So this is negative x minus 2 squared plus 3. This is the answer, the red one. So this is graph using transformation. So you have to graph, but only transformation. You cannot use plotting points. I'll give you the little tiny grids. Even if I don't, just do like mine. Walk the way you have to walk. Show your walk. Any question? Dimitri? No. Only the square graph. The next question. It says, let f be a function defined by f of x equals negative x squared. Now the graph of this function in the xy plane is obtained by first translating the graph of f horizontally 3 units to the left. So you have to go 3 units left. And then you go vertically, translating 2 units up. 3 left, 2 up. What is the value of g of -2? The new graph. So once you do transformation, in that transformation, if x is -2, what's the y value? This is what they're asking. So you start with your negative x squared. This is given, negative x squared. Now you take this negative x squared, go 3 left and 2 up. So let's walk. 1, 2, 3 left, 1, 2 up here, and I stop. And now they are telling us at that time, in this graph, the red one, when x is -2, how much is the y? Oh, man. Let's just common sense, I think. When x is -2 here. So this point here is is 2. This point here is positive 1. So this is definitely not negative 7, not negative 3, not 0, right? So we have 1 and 3, definitely not 3. So our only choice is 1. So my graph is not perfect, but we can eliminate all the other options based on the scenario. Do you guys understand what I'm doing? We draw your graph, and then they're asking in this graph, when your x is negative 2, how much is the y? Since my graph is not perfect, so I cannot tell exactly when x is negative 2, how much is the y. Okay? When x is negative 3 or y is 2. That is given. 3 left 2 out means when x is negative 3, and y is positive 2. Now when x is negative 2, you're looking for what is this number. So my graph is not perfect. We can eliminate 7 because negative 7 is somewhere here. Definitely when x is negative 2, y is not negative 7, is wrong. The negative 3 is somewhere here. So we can eliminate negative 3 because when x is 2, it has to be between 0 and 2. Right? When x is 2, negative 2, or y below is somewhere between 0 and 2. So then the only number we have between 0 and 2 is 1. So our option is 1. Because I didn't draw it correctly. If you draw it correctly, you'll see it's 1. Okay? But in the final exam, they ask you this type of weird question. One last question. The equation of the curve that results from shifting the graph of the function f of x equals x squared. Oh, what is the equation of the graph? You are shifting f of x equals x squared 2 units left and then 3 units up. Tell me the new function. If you move this function, let's the new graph f of x. Since you're inside and something outside. Good job. 2 left means inside 2. And then we have 3 up means 3 outside your parentheses, outside your square. So this is what they're looking for. What's the new graph? What's the new formula for that? So goodbye, everyone. See you again tomorrow. And most likely I will not be able to post the solution tonight because I have my own class to go. So I'm going to go my own class and then I'll have time tomorrow probably. Be safe. See you again tomorrow.
Tuesday that just passed, the one this week, was what homework was due? 1.4 or
1.4.
Okay. Oh, I did that like last week. And I saw that it says that they email you after the confirmation email. I put the test. I'll let you know sometime.
Okay.
But